Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the 13th Dimension. And it looks like my guest has a customer at the moment.
Yep. I'll be right back. I'm just going to put myself on mute just a second. I'm
Uh,
excited.
so while we are waiting for Ed to come back, I am sharing this thing out. So for those of you watching tonight, please help me out in sharing. Let's see here. Where did I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know my networking. So, for everybody out there who is currently watching, how is your evening going? And do you have any special plans for this weekend? Hi, Kate. Just working on getting this thing shared out. And it is looking like it did not go through on the chat, so I am going to have to do that again. All right. Things. Oh, this sharing thing just doesn't work out very well. Temporal. Hello, Carl. We're just kind of hanging on here for a minute while my guest is working with a customer. Customer came in right as the show started. Let's see here. He fear. There we go. There we go. Doing some laser, and yeah, you do some good work there, Carl. So, so with Ed being at work and customers coming in on occasion, we're going to keep this show brief. Hopefully, no more than an hour. Um, not only for him, but I've also got to get to bed early tonight because I got to get up early in the morning for my segment of the 22-hour marathon veteran suicide awareness podcast. Um, that will be at 9 a.m. That will also be an episode of the 13th Dimension. I will have Tim Kohler and Scott Wilson on with me. We're going to be talking about frustrations with the VA hospital because Tim and Scott are vets. My dad's a vet, and everybody's got horror stories on that. Um, Zach has done a great job orchestrating and organizing the entire schedule. Um, we share the same account on this program, so I got to see a lot of what he's got going on, and he's got it. It's all ready to go, and now it's just a matter of him starting, which I believe is midnight tonight. Um, don't hold me to that, but I think it starts at midnight tonight. No, 4 in the morning for me. 4 in the morning. Hello, Ed.
Hello, brother man. I am sorry. I do apologize about that. One of
That's okay. It gave me a chance to work on sharing this thing out and also explain the Veteran Suicide Awareness Marathon tomorrow.
yes, what a great opportunity. What a profound weekend, if you will.
It's
Yes.
This is his fourth year running it. My third year, I believe, being a part of it, and it is just amazing. Just amazing that
I
he's able to do this thing.
agreed. I've actually talked to my network, and I wanted to do something years ago with either the Shriners Hospital or with the Children's Hospital of Virginia, something the same. So it's really cool to seeing others out there doing exactly what I've been thinking about. I'm like, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Well, I actually have a thing called the Paranormal Giving Tree that started out as something else a few years ago, and
Yeah.
I ended up inheriting it. Um, haven't really done much with it. I've got ideas. Other members of the group has had a lot of ideas. We just haven't had the time to try to implement anything.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
One thing
Yeah.
that we talked about doing for last year is trying to get involved with the Toys for Tots.
That's another good one. Absolutely.
Yep. Hall's a vet. He hates the VA. My segment of tomorrow's thing, we're going to be talking about the VA. Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
going to have some nice thing to say about it.
Man. I mean, y'all were talking a little bit the other night, and I'd posted something because my father, of course, was in the Army Air Corps, and it wasn't any better back then than it is now. It's always been a hassle, an issue with all of our veterans. It's really sad. What's up, Nico?
Hello.
So
Yeah, it really is sad. I think I said something along the lines that the veterans were getting treated a lot better back then than they were here on
where
the average scale.
yeah, but it still was bad back then.
It is.
But they were, and I think too is what something. I know we're on this subject, and just going to jump on it real quick. Back then, the veterans were also. I hate to say it like this, but this is the truth. They were also subject to experimental procedures, experimental drugs.
I
So
remember hearing about that.
yeah, yeah. So
Um,
they were guinea pigs, man.
the way that it sounds like the Vietnam War era was the absolute worst for that.
I agree. The CIA had their hands in it, and then the special ops. They all were putting their little fingers into the veterans, and that's the sad part. What we'll do to our own troops.
Wasn't one of those experiments where they was trying to create a super soldier?
Yes, sir.
That's what I
Yes, sir.
thought. I remember seeing stuff like that in movies and on TVs, and I thought, okay, well, this is just for the thing. Then I heard it in on other channels, and I'm thinking, no, that they would not have had the resources to be able to actually successfully do something like now, maybe, but back then, so
Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree. I mean, that's where we got projects like Looking Glass and Mom Talk from. So you think about it, our government has been using us for guinea pigs for forever, over 100 years. So
I believe
yeah.
it. And oh man, I despite a lot of the bad stuff that we have, I really do love American history.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You
Uh,
got to have your pros with your cons, man.
oh yeah. In fact, I know some people kind of look down on this show, but I absolutely love this show.
Oh, okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You just have to go into it with an open mind. That's my opinion.
I do. Because I watch that and I watch technically not it's not American it's global history, but I watch a lot of Ancient Aliens.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah. Oh, you know what? That's funny you're bringing that up because that's some of the stuff I came across was ancient aliens and history today. And I'm like, isn't it interesting some of the stuff that I found out through research today that the history doesn't even talk about. Um, Roseland uh, Church. There's things in the church overseas that should not be in the church because they weren't even a part of that land pre-existing. And I found that very interesting. So when you talk about ancient aliens, man, I'm like, oh yeah, let's talk about some good history because there is a lot of stuff that I
is this,
found out today.
this the one that is in Scotland?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
pronounced Roseland.
Roseland.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I read it, it reads like it's Roslyn
Yeah.
because of
It's
that Russian
pronunciation.
S. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I was doing research into the Templars last night into today, and man, it's interesting. It's really interesting correlating names to ancient history, to ancient technology, to while the Templars were in the Middle East, all the way up to almost modern times. A lot of people talk about piracy and stuff like that, and where did the where did we get our laws, et cetera, et cetera. And what a lot of people don't understand is the United States is based on pirate law. It's based on piracy. The basic form of democracy is piracy. No, here's the funny part. If you ask
They're not
anybody,
wrong.
no, no, they're pretty much on target. Now, if you ask anybody who flew the Jolly Roger first, and you're going to hear pirates, right? You're going to hear all these crazy things. That is not true. The first group to fly the Jolly Roger with the skull and crossbones was Templar Knights to scare off their opponents or anyone that would come up onto the fleet. Pretty
It's-
interesting stuff.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It just-
Um,
I figured that the piracy thing. Oh well, no, because the Templar that was well over 1,000 years ago.
yeah.
Um, actually, closer to 2,000, I
It's
think.
interesting, isn't it?
It is. um, and thinking about the Knights of the Templar is that their destruction basically
Mhm.
is what led to us having a Friday the 13th mythology.
Exactly. And there's it's sad how many people do not know why we have Friday the 13th. Why is it a faux pas in culture, which is really interesting to me. A lot of people are like, well, it's because the Celtics saw the number 13 as dark or something contributed. It all goes right back to April 13th when the king and the pope got together and decided, oh, let's just take out the Templars and take their money because they're becoming too powerful and they're becoming more powerful than we are. And the king was pissed off because he had been paying them
Mhm.
and he wanted their wealth, and the Pope wanted the control. Then came about the curse of the Templars, where once the Grand, uh, I don't remember the name right now. I got to go back to it. The head of the Templar Knights was burned at the stake. He
Michael,
actually, yeah, he actually made a curse upon the king and the Pope that they would die within the 6 months, and literally they did. Not even 2 weeks after his death. First the king, or first the nope, it was the king who died, and then the pope died of something completely different.
okay, see, I did not know that. Um, Jenny's digging your middle name.
Oh yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. That's my radio name, my radio personality, my podcast personality. Well, thank you.
I I've seen some of your stuff, and I gotta say, Hitman is pretty accurate.
Yeah, well, I think I know what you're referring to, and You know what? Sometimes you got to build boundaries, and sometimes you got to defend those who are not defending themselves. And you need to look up for the little man. It's integrity. It is code, and maybe sometimes we need to look deeper at that. That more people need to be defended than we are, especially in this field. And I don't know if we want to go down that track tonight, Jeremy, but
I
I'm kind of loaded.
I'm going to be honest when it comes to the field. I'll talk about anything paranormal. I
And
will. I am. I will say that a lot of times I find myself disengaged with it because of so much infighting and the drama and all of that stuff, and
the
I
drama.
don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, drama and ego. I mean, honestly, I mean, I've stepped away a couple times. Let me answer Jenny. Jenny did say the Templar Nights are still going on this day. Some are nice and some are not. She is right. The Templar Knights have spread out into different groups and societies, not necessarily Masons, but I'm sure there's rooted in that. So, yes, you are correct in that, Jenny, and thank you. I could talk to you all about someone who is in the Templars who should be kicked out. And so, there you go. We see that throughout too. Going back into it, and it's kind of funny because we're talking about code, right?
Mhm.
And this is interesting. Um, I did leave the field in 2014. I went away for a couple years, grounded myself, said, no, I'm not dealing with any more drama or clicking or anything like that. Came back, started the Rift, and stayed there for a while. And then a lot of my old team contacted me and said, "Look, we want to get back. We want to do this." I was ready to do this, and then my better half's like, "Let's do this." I'm like, "Okay, let's put the team back together." Ryan Jones came to me, said he wanted to get back in. A lot of the founding members came back to ASPS. So we are not a team that goes and puts all of our information on YouTube and all that. We're a quiet team because we're doing the research for us. And if we find something legible and something that's interesting and could benefit the field, we'll release it. We'll talk about it. Just like I talk about everything with all you guys. I have nothing to hide. Why should I? To advance this field, it's not going to advance unless we communicate. But I will say this, and a lot of people are going to disagree with me. Some might totally understand. There's never going to be a solid front of unity in the field because
It's
a
very
like minded.
something like that, and it's, that can be true of anything, not just the
Yes,
paranormal field.
100% agree. Psychology shows it, sociology proves it. It's a like minded individuals with a common goal. And if you're following somebody or if you're being led by somebody, well, maybe theirs aren't the same as yours. Maybe your values are different. You got to get with the people that have your values. Not everybody's the same. I'll be right back.
All right, Jenny, I'll tell you what. This would be a guy to have on your show some Saturday night. Um, he is extremely knowledgeable, um, knowledgeable in a lot of different things. So I would encourage you reach out to Ed and get him on your show one of these weeks. So, oh, so I'm really excited about this weekend because tonight is episode 98 of the 13th Dimension. And then tomorrow, when I have Scott and Tim with me tomorrow morning, it will be episode 99. And then we're going to be moving on to our 100th episode. And this is, I've been waiting for that particular episode for a long time. So, so what do we want to talk about? um, just kind of wait until Ed gets back. Um, yeah, I never thought I'd be able to get this show up to 100 episodes, but it's finally here. Um, the date is tentatively set for March 7th, um, Friday night. I've already given Tim and Scott and Nick, because Nick is going to be a part of the 100th episode, because for a while he was also a co host on the show. So there will be five of us: me, Scott, Tim, Crystal, Nick. Really looking forward to that. I saw that. I am familiar with Lourdes. I'm not so much with Ron. Is he her partner? Welcome back, Ed.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Sorry, you guys.
That's okay. I got stuff. I had stuff to talk about while you were gone. I was explaining that this is episode number 98 for 13th Dimension.
you know, I don't even know how many daggone episodes I've done now, Jeremy. It's going on 8 years, man. I didn't even think about it. I going by the anniversary, and I didn't even think about the episode because we switched from Blog Talk to Restream, and I was like, "Dang, how many shows have I done? I don't know, a
Yeah,
lot."
at first I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to how many episodes, and but I've always been somebody who's been big on anniversaries and birthdays. Like
Yeah,
like on the network page, I always try to make sure I'm recognizing somebody on their birthday.
agreed, agreed. And we try to do the same thing. I
Uh,
mean, I think you're showing respect because those are the ones who make the show. Sometimes
they're
you're
the ones who
chatting
make the whole
in chat.
network.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Hey, Renee, that's my girl. It's my promo girl right there, Renee Cody.
You
What?
know,
What?
just like Jenny is one of our show hosts on this network.
Mm-hmm.
So she's on that long list of everybody whose birthdays I got. So yeah, as far as a um, union front, you're not
Mm-hmm.
going to see anything that is like clear across the board. There are groups and cliques, um, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But as long as the different groups show respect to all the others, that's what we need. And
Well, that's the problem.
there are people out there that don't respect others.
Agreed. They don't respect integrity. They don't. Their focus is themselves or place or thing. It's not in the advancement. And there's too many people out there faking what they are and who they are, and they don't know half of what they're talking about, which hurts the field just as bad. It's just like fake evidence. If you're claiming to be some religious person and you don't have that background, well, you just hurt the field just as bad as someone faking evidence on the science side. You
And
know,
then there are others that go out there and pretend to be somebody else.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Just a handful of months ago, when somebody created a page with the Things Network name on it.
I remember that.
Oh, I
I
went after
remember
that person.
that. And,
Why?
that's the good thing about us networking and the affiliates of the networks that we have. We can look out for each other
Yeah.
because about the same time I had the same problem. I went ahead and had the Rift copyrighted. I was like, go ahead and bring it on now. Please, somebody try to use that. Please. Because I was like, I'm done. I'm done with a lot of stuff I've dealt with in the past and the networks dealt with. And that's why we watch out for everybody else. We're not a big network. We never wanted to be a big network. We just want to be a network that can provide information and teach people, mentor people, and have great conversations and entertain people. I never claimed to be the best and never claimed to be the biggest, but I like what we have. Um, just just like you guys, Jeremy, what y'all have created here. I love this.
The way that I've always looked at when it the thing that I look at when it comes to putting something together is I look for people who are better than I am at what they do.
I'll go with that. I mean, that's the best way to learn, right? Through
Exactly.
experience. You
That
know.
that's how I put my investigation team together, and that's
Mhm.
how I put this network together. Is I want people who are who are top. I do not want to be the smart one in the group.
Mhm.
Please make me the dumb one. I want the smart people on this thing, and I've got no shame in saying that.
Yeah, I learn from everybody on my team. I just have a lot of experience in this field on the science side, and I've taken the last 10 years to dive into the spiritual side and reach the other side of my family, my blood family, and understand that. So I'm that person. I'm still the guy that they come to, but I go to them. I'm like, guys, I need your input. I need to know what you see, what you know. Because that way I'm also knowing my team. What's your strengths? What's your weaknesses? How do we build it? And, I try to use, I don't think that's the right word. I try to apply special operations to how we go about it. We're not just a paranormal team. We try to break it down. We have specific SOPs and we follow them. That's the best way to do it. Hey, Mort, what's up?
It is the best way to do it, because I I tend to know a little bit about most things,
Yeah,
but I am never going to be the guy that has substantial knowledge on any one thing. I know
right.
just enough to get me by, and the reason I know this is because of the people I work with.
True that. That's a very true factor too. And I like what Jenny said. Uh, there is no expert in nanoscience field. We're all learning this. We all have the opportunity to bring to what we may know knowledge wise into what we're doing. And, we've got to look at the old school way of doing things too. Um, I just read about John Clean today and his in depth research into ancient technology, his research into Joshua, his research into, again, Templars Knights. And he was one of the premier paranormal investigators back in the day. But how many times have you heard his name?
I
Heard
think
his name?
the first time I've heard his name.
See? And he was premier. He was a very high level paranormal researcher back in the day. And it's been kept quiet. I mean, all you hear about, of course, is um, the Kleins.
The
I'm
ones.
trying, yeah, the Dr. Klein. Um, also, what's the other ones? Why am I forgetting their names? The husband wife duo who has the paranormal psychological school in North Carolina. Oh my goodness,
No,
my brain. I'm having CSR right now, man. Um, the Rhine Institute. Duh. Yeah, Dr. Rhine. So it's interesting. Right back.
okay.
Yeah, night tonight, boy.
Yeah, well, this is one of those nights, folks. Like I said, we'll just keep this episode brief. Just kind of get Ed, the hitman, Odell, on here. That's kind of flows, doesn't it? So, oh, so is everybody doing okay out there? If you have any questions for Ed, definitely put them up. Um, and I'm sure Ed will be more than happy to answer those questions. But I definitely do want to get into some of the older, more ancientity stuff with him, um, especially Puma Punta. You guys have heard me talk about this on Supernatural Talk the last few weeks. I am very interested in Puma Punta. Oh yeah, the Masons in the temple. Those are like two of the biggest um, secret societies ever. More particularly the Masons, but with the Templar, I want to say that they had the Holy Grail at one time. I'm not 100% positive on that, but I want to say that has been said that they had the Holy Grail.
Oh, have I
That
got some information for you about that?
the Holy Grail and the Templar.
Okay, yes. So here's the deal with that. I heard you talking. I was like, ooh, goody, goody. Okay, so the Templars went to King Solomon's location. Okay, half of the half of the Templars were monks. They were making passage right for those traveling forth. The other half, of course, were digging night and day beneath Solomon's location into the mine, right? You know what they found?
Is that
Not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, six. Six arcs. That's right. There's not just one arc. There's six of them.
you're,
There's
you're
six
talking? You're talking like
Ark of the
wait.
Covenant, baby.
I was just reading about that this morning. I have a magazine talking about all of the ancient legends and ancient myths, and the Ark of
Hmm.
the Covenant was one of them that just simply disappeared, and that it may be in like a it's under a building right now. What they suspect, but it's one of
Hmm.
those sacred shrines that they cannot take apart in order to find it.
Yep. Yep. I think it's interesting the history we thought we knew, and we're relearning and we're finding out new things every day. Uh, I
Well,
have my
that's the good
opinion.
thing about society is that we are learning, even though what we knew of in the past, we need to always challenge it.
This is true. To challenge is to understand,
Yeah,
and it brings horizon. Jenny just dropped one. Do you believe a women can be a part of the Masons?
there
Okay,
are.
so it is. Wow, I don't want to. I'm not going to put myself too far out there. I'm going to say there are women in the Masons. They're called Eastern Stars, so
Yep.
it is a division of the Masons. Technically, the not Masons, but I've heard some people say, "Well, they've let women in." I have not heard of women being allowed into the temple. Now, maybe things have changed back in the day. That's all I can say. I'm
Well,
not practicing.
I do know that there is a temple in Kansas that had the Easter Star on the same level as the regular Masons.
Wow.
Um,
Okay. I know that I can believe.
yeah,
I mean, because
because I investigated this building, and it was an awesome place to investigate. There was a group of us that was chasing something in circles,
yeah.
and on the top floor is the sixth floor. There are three rooms: the red room, the blue room, and the Easter Star room. The blue room is the main Masons meeting room.
Mm.
The red one I want to say was more of like a ritual room, but I can't swear to that. But the blue one was definitely the meeting room. That's where they had all the chairs lined up. They even had on one wall a picture of all the master masons. Not the master grandmasters of that
That's
group.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
the Grandmasters. Yeah. Now,
and
the
one of
only
those,
thing I can say about that is I cannot confirm nor deny.
one of those pictures scared the shit out of me. He had the look of a psychotic serial killer.
Well, you do know that Masonry was redeveloped right after the Civil War by a Satanist, right?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, and that's all I'll say about that part. It's all in history. It's fact. That's not something that's hidden. I'm just making a point. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
There's
I, I just love stories about the Masons because a lot of American history is very tightly intertwined with it.
Yep, absolutely. Jenny says there's an amazing lady here in Ireland that is a part of the Masons. Now I'm going to tell you why I believe that. They should be, because if the Masons are holding true to the thought and process, then the woman is the womb, the mother of all. So, how can you turn away that on which certain religions pray to, believe in? I mean, the mother fertility is on how many state capitals?
I I never understood why women get excluded from a lot of things because if not for the woman, we would not be here.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Um, History shows us time and time again that women make better leaders than men because they do not react and respond the same way as a man does. That's why a lot of Celtic tribes, their leaders were women, not men. These are just facts.
I when you talk about female leaders, I have always said for 20 years at least, Judge Judy needs to be president of the United States.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, some would not disagree with you. Some would not disagree with you. Um, there's a lot of outstanding military leaders that are females, and I will give them that. Um, as leaders, as front runners, I don't take anything away from women whatsoever. Uh, that could be a whole nother rabbit hole that can be slid down real quick. Um,
And
I,
probably has.
yeah, it probably has, and yeah, I agree with you there too. Um, I feel times are changing and they're getting better to the way we used to be, but there needs to be change. And I think again we're going back. I hate to tell you, we're sliding back into the Templar point here, because Templars, the groundwork was men and women. Lady Mandolin was a guide, was their thought. So protecting the jewel, the bloodline, Joshua, I mean, that was his wife. And taking control away from the church and giving it back to the people. They had a perfect layout for the future of the world. The church turned it, and I had a great conversation with someone today, so I'm going to be very careful how I'll put this. However, I'm just going to say it out of my opinion, is the church created the misconception of the NWO to scare the world away from future consciousness of self awareness of true religion, spirituality. We all have God, Christ within us. And the church does not want us to know that, because then they would lose control. Now, back in the day, the church was in control. What is it now? Is it the same church? Is it a different church? Is it something completely different? Oh God, we can go down that rabbit hole, and we're talking about three or four different type of conspiracies. And
Well,
whoa,
look at all the religious wars that we've had over the centuries, especially in those early ones.
right. Hold on, I was reading what Jenny was saying.
Secret
Yeah,
handshake.
yeah, the secret handshake Templars that should never be shown outside. Yes. What about it? I'm not understanding the question. Are you asking? Is there a shake? I think all societies have their unique ways and their specific greetings, if you will. Um, and I was shown it. Okay, so um, it's all about pointings, and a lot of the basic theory, ironically, of Temple Knights is spiritual thought, and it was actually a thought of Asian culture before it was bled to the Templars. Um, these
I always thought that the Templars were kind of derived from the original 12 apostles.
that's what that's a theory. Here's the problem: we're in the land of theory because we don't know the truth because the secrets have been hidden. Get it? No pun intended. Catch 22. Hidden secrets. Secrets have been hidden. Um, it is, in my opinion, a mix of Middle Eastern thought, hence Solomon, a hint of India, Indonesian thought, uh, Asian culture, Ming Dynasty. It is all of these thoughts are the same. It's just like Buddha, 500 years before Joshua,
Mhm.
preaching the exact same thing. How about this? How many people have no idea that Christ? I will use that. Was ordained under a pyramid, Templar.
I've never heard that before, but I do know that one very unpopular statement that's been made about him over the years is that Jesus was not actually white as he is depicted to be for,
No,
you know, hundreds of years.
there's no way.
No.
I mean, scientifically speaking, religiously speaking, I mean, look at the Judeans now. Do they look? I mean, they don't. No, no. I think Joshua was definitely a darker skinned individual. Not that skin color matters, but they've been mis. Okay, well, look at the word Jesus. Jesus, holy crap, that's a whole nother twist of fate there. Jesus was created by Romans as a name because there was no J. However, Jasmine is a Roman demon. Oh, dun dun dun. So for hundreds of years, you've been calling a Roman demon. That's when I found this out. I stopped using the word. I'm like, no, 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 no. When you dive into your research and you grasp, it is personal opinion and growth. Now, those people can grow with you or they can do their own thing. I cannot affect one's personal will. That is against my law, universal law. Do not affect the free will of man. However, I'm going to respect that. Just like Judean, I understand now why they said don't eat that of the clove. Kind of makes sense now if you go to back and think about it, because we're all getting sick on meat, aren't we?
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah, just saying.
That's
It, you know, it's the same thing as magic. Oh, we
just
can go down that if you want.
because a particular meat almost destroyed the entire
You two
world.
more. Yeah, yeah. I mean, look how fast our chickens are getting this flu, if you will, supposedly.
Just last year, there was a massive recall on chicken product,
hmm
and I personally had to take 5 or 6 bags of stuff to Walmart, Kroger's, Meyer to turn this stuff back in because because I'm a big chicken guy. I love
Yeah,
chicken. I prefer chicken meat over beef.
yeah.
And
I'll take turkey in a heartbeat. You
oh,
can't find turkey hardly anymore.
I'll tell you this: if you ever get a chance to try ostrich, take it.
I've heard. I have not tried it yet. We've got Kreger's right down the road. I want to try that. That and their gator. I have not tried the ostrich, but I think I want to. I want to try it.
I have tried ostrich one time. It came right out of the fridge. Even at cold, it was the most delicious meat I've ever tasted.
Nice.
I've also had bison. That was really good. I've had elk. That was really good. I even had quail egg.
Oh, love quail.
Yeah, and to
Mhm.
me, it's not all that different from just regular chicken egg
No, it's not. No, it's a little richer. That's about it.
and smaller.
Yeah, and smaller. That's the other thing with me. I have a problem with eating wildlife as is. So I'm not a hunter, and I don't like the wilderness taste. Um, that's why I prefer bird over anything else. I don't like deer. Um, Bison's okay. It's a tender, more of a tender meat.
Mhm.
Uh, but again, I'm kind of getting old school. I'm kind of going old school with things and starting to understand the Judean law and understanding why it was eat more fish. Fish is necessary for us, and I am horrible at eating fish. I need to eat fish. Ed O'Neill.
I'll tell
What's up,
you
man?
what, that is one actor I would love to interview someday.
Aren't you Jay Pritchett?
Hey, I at one time I was referring to him as Howie Mandel.
Yeah, yeah. You can call me anything you want, just don't call me George.
Don't call you what?
George. You can call me Howard. You can call me Howard. You can call me Edson. You can call me Ed. Just don't call me George.
I don't know that one. I know the song "You Can Call Me Al" by Paul Simon.
Oh, and you got that too. There you go. Perfect
Yeah,
example.
that is probably one of the more funniest music videos ever made.
It's funny you said Howie Mandel, and I'm like, I do kind of got the goatee. He shaved his off, but yeah, we had the same thing at the same time.
Just a little pouch
Yeah,
patch.
yeah, yeah. I'm not doing that. I'll get killed if I shave this off. She's already warned me. Don't do it. Like, okay.
Yeah, well, you kind of gotta listen to the lady.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, I
Yeah,
do.
we all have learned at one time or another.
Yeah, yeah. My father taught me well. Say yes and know that it's yes.
Going back to ancient technology, the one that well, two that baffle me the most. One is this gear that they found. It's some long name that I can't even pronounce, but it is an ancient mechanical gear
Mhm.
that they've dated back to sometime in the BCs.
Oh yeah,
And then
pre-existing Egyptian. Yes.
yeah,
Hmm.
and there's also they don't know what kind of technology officially they used, but the stuff that they used to carve out the stones for Puma Punka.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, look at all the technology that was back then that we have lost. Now we go back to that. Why? All right, here we go. Right back in the circle. Why were the Templar Knights at King Solomon's mine? Because there were supposed to be relics of Atlantis there. That's where they. That's why they were sent. Now,
It,
here we go. We've got proof the civilization was thousands and thousands and thousands pre-existing what we thought. We
yes,
have all this technology. We've lost technology. We've lost thought. Okay, progression of man.
we've lost a lot of knowledge when the Alexander Scrolls.
Yes. Yep.
Is that the one that caught?
The Library of Alexandria.
Yeah, is that the one that caught fire?
Yep.
So
Yep.
that right there, imagine the knowledge and the stuff that was written in there.
Yeah, and we still haven't fully exhumed the links. There's ancient scrolls, etc., saying that there are still rooms and catacombs and locations beneath the Sphinx. I mean, if you keep digging, you may find a whole complete freaking city. I mean, we've only brushed away sand from. Uh,
Well, we've already proven time and time again that a lot of today's modern cities are built over older cities.
Thank you, New York, California. California's proving it right now, aren't they?
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
Yeah, I just found that out a couple of years ago that there is an underground city underneath Indianapolis.
Yep.
I've lived in
Yep.
Indiana for almost my entire life, and I'm just now hearing about this.
Now, here's the ironic part. What does that say about our existence here in America? That tells you that there was intelligent life that was pre existing the Templars and the Vikings that came here, and it was not Native American.
Well, that's not the thing that concerns me. The thing that concerns me is the suppression of the information that we should be privy to.
Why are we being suppressed? Are they
Exactly.
utilizing that now? I mean, that's what they're saying.
Well, I just read a thing where Donald Trump said he's going to Fort Knox to find out if they actually have gold there or not.
There's no gold there. They've already moved it.
Yeah, I don't think it's there either. Uh,
Mm-mm.
in in fact, that was heavily featured on this show. Fort
Okay.
Knox.
Well, I know I have contacts in the military that specifically were at Fort Knox, and they moved the gold. It's 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 legit. It's not.
Technically, they're not supposed to tell you that.
No. No.
Yeah,
Technically, there's a lot of things I'm not supposed to know, Jeremy.
that can be a good thing and a bad thing all at the same time.
Yeah, good and bad. It's very true. I've had an interesting life with my parents. Let's put it that way.
I bet you do.
That's what got me into the paranormal, for God's sake.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, Fort Knox is, and I've driven by Fort Knox because I have a friend who lived just south of there.
Hmm.
So going to her place, you know, I'm right on the highway. I can see. I've taken pictures of Fort Knox.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now it it surprised me to see how small the building is,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it is a huge complex.
Well, you got to remember, it was built majority underground. You're only seeing the top side of it. So you have that complex too. Again, here we go, underground again. Catch 22s everywhere, aren't we? We're all over the place tonight. But it's true.
Hey, I
It
like
was,
conversations like that.
it was designed because of uh, bombing and explosions, worrying about other countries being able to get over here, and underground is easier to fortify than it is above ground. So that's why they designed it the way they did.
Yeah.
And the vaults are underground. They're not above ground.
And
Oh
are
right.
you familiar with Fort Duffield?
No.
Okay, it is actually right next to Fort Knox. Fort
Okay.
Duffield was during the time of the Civil War, and it was a natural fort instead of one that they built. They terraformed the land and used it as their burials or barriers to protect West Point, Kentucky.
Oh, is that where they started the cavalry training?
That I don't know.
That's
Ernie and Denise Pack would know the answer to that.
oh okay. Yeah, great people right there.
Yeah, they're the
Okay.
ones that run front Fort Duffield.
Okay.
They've taken me there, given me a tour, show me where the dirt mounds are at that used to be their walls.
Okay.
And then over the course of the last 160 years, it's worn down. But you can definitely still see and have something of an idea of how the structure was.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's pretty ingenious the way that they did that instead of you know using wood and all of that. They used dirt
Mhm.
as their protection.
Well, look at Fort Sumter. A lot of that's underground too. People wouldn't know it. They got halls and artillery lines and all that to run on the outside and underneath it. It's really intriguing. Oh, I love Savannah. Love Savannah. My favorite place on earth.
That's one place I definitely do want to go to, Savannah, Georgia.
You got to, brother. Once you go there, it will get in your blood. I mean, a lot of people talk about New Orleans. New Orleans, me, I like our East Coast New Orleans. Savannah, there's no place like it. So,
I'm going to
yeah.
be in Baton Rouge in a month.
Oh, no, that's going to be a good trip.
Yeah,
That's
well,
going to be a really good trip.
I'm going there for my annual bowling tournament.
Okay. Rock on.
Um, and in one of those years, I actually did drive down into New Orleans, and I picked the wrong day to go there. It was heavy, heavy traffic.
Yeah,
I got maybe 5 minutes into New Orleans, and I just couldn't deal with the traffic, so I just turned tail and went back.
I hear you. I feel you on that one.
I hate heavy, heavy traffic. Um, but in Baton Rouge, I enjoy it there.
Hmm.
Um, I've been there twice, and both times the majority of what I did is the days that I wasn't bowling, I was at the movie theater watching the latest movie.
Oh, is it
Uh,
a classic theater?
no, it is at the time it was known as the Rave Motion Pictures.
Okay.
That was where they did the stadium seatings.
Yeah,
Yeah, I really do like those. You don't have to worry about people sitting in front of you, especially somebody tall, and you can still see over them.
yeah, and you don't have to worry about yeah, you don't have to worry about getting and interfering with the people behind you too. I mean, it's yeah, I
Yeah.
love those. Yeah, that's your. They got another name for them here, and I don't remember what it is. Good lord, here we go. Um, but
Well,
yeah, give me a sec.
Rave turned into AMC.
Okay, be right back.
Okay. Holy cow, folks, we're already at an hour. While he's doing that, I'm going to excuse myself for just 1 minute. Okay, I am back. So I see that Joanne has sent me an article, Tomb of Ancient Egyptian King Unearthed in Remarkable Discovery.
Was that here in America?
No, it's in Egypt.
Okay.
Mummy Tutmosis II.
You know, with saying that, while you're reading that, you know something else. Uh, there's two things that I found interesting, and it has to do with Tutankhamun. All right, a lot of people. It's interesting to me how they had the curse of Tutankhamun. Was it because they were trying to avoid keep people from going there? First of all, Tutankhamun was obsessed with shoes. Did you know that? He had a foot fetish.
Really?
When they yeah, yeah, when they got into his tube, he had at least 50 pairs of shoes because he was flat-footed. Yeah, that much they learned.
Uh,
Two, they found ancient technology in his tomb. This has been recently I found out too,
yeah,
which of course we didn't talk about.
that's a new one.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm not surprised.
They, I remember a long time ago they were doing a computer imaging of what he looked like back
Hmm.
then. And what I remember seeing was that he wasn't normal.
No, no, facially, his body was. See, and that's the thing. Some people think he had scoliosis.
That's one thing I do remember about that.
Yeah.
The reason that sticks with me is because my daughter's got that.
Okay, okay.
Um,
And see, my daughter has semi palsy in her left leg and left arm. This is where that conversation was the other night. My daughter has shrinkage of the right hemisphere. So I'm like, I totally understand where y'all are coming from when you're talking about children and all of these. So Tutankhamun, they said they think he had scoliosis, but his brain, his shape of his head is still wrong. His body, it was really unusual. So could that lead to the fact that his father probably may have been a half breed, if not a full alien? We go back to that.
I I have no idea. My guess is you know how he probably had some deformity like what a lot of people's got now, and they've got body parts that are just not normally shaped normally.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of leaning towards that. Now,
Well,
when you're talking about aliens, I have I fully believe that aliens were involved in some way when it comes to some of the knowledges that they had, when it comes to the structures that they built, because look at all of the different societies at that time that built their own pyramids. What if it
absolutely.
is that the same people came up with the exact same idea? It
I, Jeremy, I'm starting to believe now that it may be a possibility that the Anunnaki myth of splitting humanity up may be true because of our color and our intelligence and our strengths and weaknesses. Some of us are designed for colder weather, some designed for hot weather. Um, our blood types are different all the way up to the time of Yahshua. And that's when it changed. That new bloodline came into play, right at Yahshua. I'm with you, brother. There's a lot of interesting things. How did the Egyptians do some of the things they did? Pre-existing, the Anunnaki, the Sumerians. There's so much that we are just starting to understand now.
well, they recently found structures in South America that actually predate the classic Mayan period that was created by the Mayan.
Hmm.
Um, I, I don't remember where specifically it was, but they you can't see it from overhead because of how dense the forest is. The only reason they were able to find this stuff was through the use of lidar.
Yeah.
And with this lidar, they were able to find additional pyramids, one of which was a gigantic pyramid that had three pyramids on the top of it. And they also had roadways that they built up from the ground and covered it with white limestone so
Yep.
that it would reflect the light from the moons so that they could see where they were going in the dark of night.
And that's not the only place they found that. That's the interesting part. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
I think that is brilliant. In fact, there was, I think, in one location, I cannot remember where it is, they had used the luminescence from the bio algae on the ocean, and they basically painted it on their walkways so it would illuminate as they walked. It was
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah, it's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff that.
And that they figured this out 10,000 years ago, 15,000 years ago.
And here we are still trying to put a triangle in a square peg. Just
Uh,
saying.
Yeah.
Jenny's asking about the Rh negative. Well, now that's interesting you bring that up because we're going back to the bloodline to Joshua. Now, this could be a change to an environment, or it could be a change in the energy uh, envelope, if you will. Uh, this is going back to strands of DNA strands, referring to the Meg. Okay, that's the gray matter volume, which is really interesting. I again, something happened that I can say something happened during the time of Joshua to add or take away a DNA strand or particle, remove or put in, and for us to change. Something happened. Was something happened? I am from the family of 12. I am a twin, and I am the only Rh negative. Oh, see, there you go. I believe that. It twins. That's a whole nother road, man. We could be talking all night. Y'all have no idea. If we could, I'm sure we could. Y'all have to come join Jeremy and me with my host here next month. So yeah,
Holy
uh,
cow. Is that a month already?
yeah. It's we're only a couple weeks out, brother man. We're only a couple weeks out.
Uh, no, April 13th.
Is it April 13th? I thought it was in March. Oh, you lucked out then.
I know that that was one of the dates that you were throwing out there because Nick and I weren't really sure if you wanted us both together or at the same
Right.
or separately.
Yeah, so I got Nick, and then I have you or you and the Nick. I can't remember how we have it set up, but okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you have both of us set up in the summer.
Okay.
And what's going to be interesting is when I come on your show, I'm not going to have any hair.
That's okay. It's
This
gonna be awesome.
this is all going bye bye in 4 weeks.
You're gonna. It's time for. I remember last year when you donated. I
It
think that's.
was no, it was 2.5 years ago.
Was it really?
It wouldn't be
Good
this long if it
lord.
was just last year.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying your hair grows long anyway, bro.
It
I
does.
don't know anything about that. I'm just.
Yeah, the only thing that
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to is I got a scar that comes all the way across here
Yeah.
from one of my surgeries. So I'm not looking forward to how that's going to look.
Let's see. Jenny's saying you need to come on my show. Be honored to.
I was telling her she needs to get you on her show.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, she
I'm
does
like
her
the
show
jack of
on
all
Saturday.
trades.
She does her
Oh,
show on Saturdays.
okay. Saturdays would be good. Saturdays would be good. I can
Yeah,
handle Saturdays.
yeah. It'll be. Let's see. Her normal show time is 4:30 my time, our time.
Okay. Okay.
And
I
she's
can definitely handle that then.
in Ireland.
Jenny, send me a friend request if you haven't already. I'm a nice guy, unless you piss me off. And then I'm still nice until you really go too far.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Just sometimes. Caca. All right. Sounds good, Jen. Um, yeah, man. Yeah, dude, anytime you want me to come on, just holler at me. Let's set it up. As long as I have like tonight that I don't have too many customers. My boss is like, as long as it doesn't interfere with your customers. I'm like, sounds good to me. And of course, I'll be changing my position here soon and moving about 3 hours away into the mountains.
Really?
Yes. Oh yeah, gonna move down to the little lady. She's down in Roanoke, Virginia, and starting a new life down there with her. I'm excited about it.
Oh, Roanoke.
Yes,
Ro-
yes.
yeah, Roanoke Colony.
Yeah, well, okay. Now that's interesting. A lot of people don't know that there was two, and of course you have Roanoke uh, in South Carolina, and then the lost colony of Roanoke here in Virginia, and a lot of people get it
That I'm
confused.
familiar with.
Yeah, we actually exactly, and not very many people know about that, Jeremy. Props. They left Henricus and did their journey up the James River. So yeah, buddy, you just made me smile, bro. But yeah, I'll be moving down there. And in fact, my parents are from Bedford and Peaks of Otter, so I'm kind of getting closer to where my yeah, that's where
I
my
had
parents.
just learned about that. Bedford used to be called Liberty.
Yeah, oh, the Liberty out.
Yeah,
Yep,
and they changed the name to Bedford. Why they changed the name to Bedford, I have no idea. I
and
like
they
the name Liberty better.
yeah, well they went for that's a really good question because it was what happened and went from Liberty to Bedford, and then ironically, World War One came along, and that's where we got the Bedford Boys from. And a lot of people are like Bedford Boys. I'm like, it's a long history of Bedford, man. It's really interesting. Even Civil War, it's really intriguing.
I remember I was literally just watching about that. They was talking about Bedford, Virginia, in connection to the Beale papers,
Yeah,
and the Beale papers being connected to, well, possibly connected to Thomas Jefferson,
mhm.
Edgar Allan Poe, the Declaration of Independence, how they were going through all of this to find out information about the, I think it's called the Beale ciphers,
The Beale ciphers.
that they need the original copy of the Declaration of Independence to be able to break that cipher, because the one that we have now, the one that is on display, does not line up with the ciphers. They need what's called the fair copy, which is the original,
Yep.
and nobody knows where it's at.
I don't think we're meant to know where it's at, brother man. That's another one of those Book of Presidents things. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
I'm just saying.
there's a lot of things that we are not meant to know,
Exactly.
which I think that they think it could be dangerous if we did know about it.
Well, there's a lot that they think could be dangerous for us. Or is it dangerous to them because it would take power away from them? Hmm.
Nope. That's kind of what we need.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what we need. I'm not even going to get into politics or religion, but I can tell you things do need to change because this world's not going to survive if it doesn't. Just saying.
There are things are changing. Some are for the good, some are not for the good.
Agreed.
So
I agree.
it's what the country voted for. So we just got to deal with it.
See what happens.
Yep.
Ride the storm.
And we go through this every time we get a new person in office. We got to go
Change.
through. Yep. We got to go through it because they always have like 100 executive orders that they're going to sign within the first couple of days they come in, and people are always going to bitch about it.
Yep. And then what happens the next 3 years? They're not doing. Who knows? You know, Jimmy Carter tried, Reagan tried, Bush. Everybody's tried.
Yeah.
You know, God, we need more Reagans. I'm sorry.
I think he was the last great president we had.
I have to agree with you.
Yeah.
I have to agree with you. Talking about pure and honest. Now he's not without fault, though. I know this for a fact. But
Nobody will ever be without fault.
Exactly.
But
I
what it
think
was about him is that he was for the people, and he had this way of injecting humor in a way that it didn't take away from the messages he was trying to make.
right. Agreed. Which
Um,
came from his acting career, which is really good. He learned how to communicate with the people by the people.
right.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
since then, I have to say Obama was probably the best speaker we've ever had, because nobody else since Reagan had been able to really speak to the people. Obama is the best speaker.
You know what? I have to agree with you on that, Jeremy. I
Yeah,
would have to agree with you on that one.
because I can't remember any of the other presidents being able to really speak to us. Biden certainly could. He could hardly speak to himself.
Right.
Um,
Well, same thing with Bush. So,
Bush,
you
Trump
know,
is a nightmare on the microphone.
uh, yeah, yeah.
I I like that he's got the business mind, but he doesn't have the public relations attitude.
No, he's very brass. He's very brass about how he goes about. Jenny says, "I'm Irish, Ed. I'm Irish." Oh, I got you. Wait a minute. See, now let's not get into my last name. Don't look at that. Oh, that can take a. Maybe we should do a show on my last name, Jenny. That would be interesting within itself. Um,
There's your 2 hour show.
that's right. That's 2 hours worth in itself. Um, now, going back to all of that, right? You know, my family were friends with Reagan and his Nancy. My mom and dad had met him in California, and they stayed uh, writing all the way up to when Reagan passed away. I've still got all the letters from President Reagan where him and my dad were communicating.
I
That goes back. I told you it's a family thing.
I remember it. They found it to be one of the more heartbreaking moments to tell him that he can't write anymore.
Yep. Yeah. He had a press secretary to do his verbalization at the end, but it still was not. It wasn't. It wasn't President Reagan. You know, it's interesting. Um,
You know, that's what happens when you start getting up there in the older ages. The Alzheimer's
yeah,
tend to set in. You know, we were seeing that with Biden.
that's true.
Um,
I'm not so sure we weren't seeing it with Bush either. I knew he was a younger one, but he was starting to,
Junior or
you
senior?
know, Junior.
Junior.
I
don't,
really,
I don't
you know,
remember a whole lot about him. It's just that he just didn't seem to be,
all there.
yeah, kind of not all there. It just didn't seem like he didn't have the smarts. Not that it wasn't all there. It's just that there were certain things that he just did not know.
He was quirky in the way he did things. He's a very intelligent man. He's done some a lot of amazing stuff behind the scenes, but he's not a good camera person. He's very quirky in front of the camera. You don't know what he's thinking. I think that's why I said at times I think he was a little on the lunatic side because the way he would come across, and the
Well,
timing was
a lot of that could do with his alcoholism from before he was president.
this is true. This is very true, brother.
Because his fight with alcohol was very well documented.
Let's see, I won't get involved in this one or I will be banned. No, we're just general conversation. I mean, this is all opinion. And that's why I don't talk about politics because I'm not a political person. I keep that to myself, but I'm just looking at generalization. But, it is interesting if you look at personalities
That's
and
how
individuals.
I do generalized. I try not to make
Yeah.
it where, okay, I'm for this, I'm not for that. I try to keep away from that.
Yeah. Well, I have years of psychology and sociology, so I get excited when I get the opportunity or when I do go into profile somebody and you look at their traits and how they are. You know, it's been good for me because I've been able to balance myself out because I used to be an asshole too. So, I'm not gonna lie. Back in the day, I was a shithead.
Every person has that ability to be like that.
Yeah.
Um, it's just how we go about it.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cuss. I apologize. I've done so good. I did so good, man.
I don't care if you cuss.
All right.
I don't give a damn.
I've
I got my
done.
own shows.
Yeah, I try to. I gotta rail myself in sometimes. Back down, Buckeye.
Holy cow! Just announced Mike Tyson to appear at WWE World during WrestleMania 41 weekend.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
This is almost this is 25 years after he made his first appearance.
Yeah, but you know what? They've got to do something. Or look, you and I can talk about wrestling all day long, folks. Y'all better watch. The fact is, they got to do something big. They've got to go bigger than last year. Um, it's not the pristine as it used to be. They've changed things up, and it might be good for the young generation. But us older guys remember the glam and the glitz and the big bang, and it's just not there anymore. They're
Well,
missing that.
I think they are trying something big because tonight The Rock returns.
Oh, or is he really? So he's coming back after Cody again?
I don't know. The general thinking is that it's going to be him and Roman, but we don't know.
Hmm,
I
that's
was told I
interesting.
don't live in America is not much. Okay, here's the thing about that.
Ah,
Here's the thing about that, Jenny. My opinion is that whatever happens here in America is going to eventually reverberate out towards other countries, and it is going to affect you. So,
we are Rome.
yeah. So, for somebody to say that you shouldn't have an opinion on, even though you don't live in America, that's bullshit.
That's bullshit. I
Because
mean,
it's eventually going to affect you in some way.
yeah, exactly. You know what? That makes me chuckle because it goes back and makes me think about the country girls. Remember the three girls that were really popular, and then because they got political, they got shot down, but they got shot down all over the world.
Oh, the Dixie Chicks?
Yeah, the Dixie Chicks. What ridiculousness!
I
You
know.
know, I, that's why I don't pay attention to the entertainment bullshit.
And then they were made to take Dixie out of their name because now the word Dixie is offensive to the Southern people. Remember that?
Oh my God!
Just called the Chicks, I think.
You know what? This world needs an enema.
It needs more than that.
Oh, wording, simple wording. You know, I was watching an episode today uh, about the myths and mythologies of South Carolina, and the guy got jumped on because he used the word slave, and then he came back and explained it perfectly. I'm like, stop being scared of your past. Stop trying to eradicate the past because if you don't, we're gonna fucking repeat it.
That's what I keep saying. Well, they tore down a statue in Georgia.
Great AI. Yeah, they're tearing statues down everywhere, brother. They
Yeah,
want to get rid of it all.
they tore a statue down of who was it? Lee,
Probably.
General Lee. But no, Jefferson Davis.
Okay. All
I
right.
think they were tearing down a statue of Jefferson Davis because he represented slavery and the Confederates and all of that. Well, here's the thing: if you take that away, if you take away that memory of him, then you're not going to grow up understanding. why this country is the way it is now because of what happened almost 200 years ago.
We needed that change to move forward. And if you don't understand the change, how can you understand the history on what we actually experienced?
Yeah.
Uh,
It'd be, it would be like England taking everything about the American Revolution out of their history books because they don't want to remember that.
exactly, Renee.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we
Robert,
need to.
that's who I was trying to. I couldn't think of that first name.
We got to stop being scared of our past because our past is what's made us. That doesn't mean anybody deserves anything for it because we weren't living then. But we need to understand history, even of our own country and how it came about. I mean, for instance, Columbus. Yes, Columbus was an asshole. And I'm going to explain this to you real quick, folks. The reason why people are talking about Columbus and there's a problem. Okay, he pre existed. They had been coming to America way before Columbus. They were doing trading with Native Americans. Okay, this is now proven fact. Now, what Columbus did is he utilized and did a military tactic, and this is what it was. The Templar Knights were coming over and trading with the Native Americans, is how they got the gold, and the Native Americans got used to seeing the eight pointed cross, which meant to that's good and safe. They're good people. Columbus used those on his ship to deceive those coming here, and that's where it all came from. It's still a deception. Okay, it is deception. However, it is still part of our history. You can't turn face on history. We learned from that. The Spaniards learned from it. The Latino and the Mexican uh, and American native all learned from the mistakes. You know what? Renee's on, and she's going to know exactly what I'm about to say. Good
She's
men do bad things, and bad men do good things. And this is just one of those factors. You could be a good guy, but you push him too far, he'll be a bad guy.
oh yeah.
Vice versa. Good guy, a bad guy can do good things. This is it right here.
I'm actually looking at a graph of all of Columbus's voyages.
Mhm.
Not once did he hit the American mainland.
Thank you. No, but if you go look at charts that are hundreds of, I think, 100 years prior to that, you'll see where Vikings and Denmarkans and others did, pre-existing pilgrims or anyone that was here.
I remember seeing where they came to Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. I
Yeah.
don't recall seeing anything where they actually landed anywhere from Maine to Florida.
No. You know what the other crazy part is? That a lot of people are talking about, you know, who was here first and all that. When you have a template, a solid stone etching that goes 100 years prior to anyone being here in the middle of our country, I think that tells a lot.
They found things from thousands of years ago in our country.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is pre Erickson, Renee, but yeah, true. It was Templar information, but you're right. Jeremy, let's go to the Grand Canyon, shall we?
Yes. Look at all of the paintings they have inside the caves
Yes,
in
ma'am.
Arizona, New
Mhm.
Mexico. Um,
Well, look at the cave that has been banded, and you cannot go into that part of the valley anymore. Talking about uh, that location, you can't even find it anymore.
is
But
that
there was,
is that the one that the Anunnaki drilled or not carved their homes inside the?
that's what they think. Or I personally, it's pre-existing the continent splitting, in my opinion. But they also say that the valley was actually carved out by an electrical storm. That's interesting. Within that side, there's science. I love science. I always found that to be interesting too.
If if those were carved in before the continent split, we're
Mhm.
talking millions of years ago.
Exactly.
So,
Rabbit hole, baby. Tick tock, tick tock. Time to go. Tick tock, tick tick top, top top. I'm late. I'm late. I'm late for a very important date.
tip the hat. Um, but no, yeah, all of this is yay science.
Yeah. I
Um,
like you, Jenny. You're good.
and another thing about science that I learned this from my friend John. He has this saying that I never thought of until he said it, and it is absolutely true. That everybody has an opinion on this and that, but yet they don't want to agree when science comes and shows you the facts.
Yep.
Science doesn't care about your feelings.
Exactly. Either does an Aquarian. On that note, brother, I've got to roll.
All right, we will go ahead and end this show. I really only intended this to be an hour show, but
Right with
we have gone to 93 minutes. Ed, thank you so much for being on here. It's
you.
absolute pleasure.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely get you back on here.
I look forward to it, brother,
Uh,
man.
so, for those of you out there in the audience, thank you for playing along. And tomorrow,
May
in
virtue
less
be
than
yours.
12 hours, I will have 13th Dimension being a part of the 22-hour marathon. I will have Tim and Scott on the show. We'll be talking about the VA hospital. We'll be doing that for 2 hours, and then um, the next time 13th Dimension will be on will be March 7th, tentatively. Um, so, meanwhile, until then, you guys have a great night. Have a good weekend, and I will see you later. Have a good night.